Imagine working on a factory assembly line. You're fast, so you finish your daily quota 2 hours early. But instead of letting you go home, the manager hands you a second, identical stack of parts to assemble for the exact same pay. You know exactly what you would do the next day. You would intentionally slow down. You'd pace yourself to finish right at the buzzer. This same scene plays out in classrooms every single day. A student finishes a math worksheet in 6 minutes, while the rest of the class needs 20. The teacher, mid-lesson with 24 other kids, does the only thing that fits the moment. They hand over another worksheet to fill the time. When speed is rewarded with more volume, we aren't just keeping kids busy. We are teaching our most capable students that hiding their skills is the only rational way to survive their environment. Think about how a smoke detector works. It only catches smoke. It completely misses carbon monoxide because it was never built to find it. This chart represents the way we usually spot these students. Most classrooms are set up to catch smoke, the loud, obvious version of a fast learner who raises their hand and finishes with a flourish. But the quiet, compliant fast finisher is like carbon monoxide. They've learned that staying quiet and being easy is safer than being noticed. They turn in fine work, never cause trouble, and remain completely invisible to the systems we use to find them. These quiet students aren't lacking potential. They are simply invisible to a detector that was never tuned to their frequency. To find the students flying under the radar, you don't need a formal diagnostic test. You can use a 60-second mental checklist right in the middle of a lesson. In a K-2 classroom, watch the student who finishes an early reader book in half the time. The important part isn't their speed, it's the silence afterward. Instead of asking for another book, they just sit there. For students in grades 3 through 5, look for a gap in how they participate. These students often give short, minimum effort answers on paper, but deliver long, enthusiastic, and brilliant answers when the class discusses that same material out loud. In middle school, the pressure to fit in socially is at its peak. You'll see it in the inconsistency. Perfect test scores paired with minimal daily classwork. The grades don't match the ability. When a student visibly dials back their effort to turn in work they clearly know is below their best, they are showing you they are worth a closer look. Ignoring these signals creates a quiet, corrosive boredom that masquerades as compliance. A student might not be a behavior problem, but they have been privately checked out for months. We often call this humility, but it's actually false smallness. Teaching a gifted student to hide their pace isn't helping them grow, it's forcing them to shrink. This wastes the critical window where students learn how to handle their talents. They either learn to steward those gifts with effort, or they learn that talent alone is enough and effort is optional. The fix is to replace Busywork with a depth menu. This is a standing list of options aimed at going deeper into a subject, rather than just doing more of it. You build it once per unit, and the student moves to it automatically when they finish their work. Option 1 is a student-led inquiry. You take the biggest open question of a unit, something the textbook doesn't fully answer, and let the student research it. For example, in a history unit on the American Revolution, the textbook shows these repetitive rows of tax stamps to explain why colonists were angry. That's the baseline narrative. But the depth menu asks the student to look further. Using a ledger with specific names and supplies like this one, they can investigate what life was like for people who weren't rich, discovering the human realities hidden behind the standard story. Option 2 involves projects tied to real-world problems. Instead of a generic assignment, the student might research a way to fix the school's recycling program or reorganize a classroom library. Option 3 is a structured back-and-forth exercise. You give the student a few minutes to prepare a defense for an idea, like why a character in a story acted a certain way, and then have them defend that knowledge against a different point of view. These options shift the student's day from enduring abstract worksheets to practicing real intellectual risk and stewardship. You don't have to launch this all at once. Try a quiet rollout. Introduce the menu to just 1 or 2 of your fastest finishers first. This lets you work out the kinks privately before opening it up to the whole class. This also changes your conversations with parents. Instead of just discussing a child's boredom, you can show them a physical plan for depth. Parents respond to a clear plan much better than a diagnosis. A student trained to hide their talent learns that their gifts are a burden, but a student who uses a depth menu learns that finishing well opens a door to something fascinating. The fastest kid in your room isn't actually finished. They are simply waiting for you to hand them a challenge that is finally worth their time.